Hello, and welcome to Dave and Ron Review for another video about movies. Usually we're reviewing, as the name tells you, but actually this week we're going to be doing things a little differently. But before we get to that, Dave, how you doing?
I'm good. Another busy week, but let's talk about some superheroes.
Yeah, we just thinking about obviously this video that we're playing in the background came out I guess 2 or 3 weeks ago now. Um, about the future of DC. Now, I think we did a Man of Steel review, didn't we? And so people know my views on it and your views and whatnot. And their slate in general, is about to change now. James Gunn has taken over him and this other gentleman has taken over the sort of creative, vision for DC. So they've got a bunch of TV shows and films coming out over the next, I think he said 10 years. There will be more, but mostly that will happen over the next 10 years. So we thought it'd be a good opportunity to look back and look forward at DC and and what went right, what went wrong, and what we sort of hope is going to happen in some of these new things. So um, overall, Dave, I guess the question is, did you enjoy the most of the DC films? What did you like? What didn't you like? Or how did you receive the films in general? And we're talking
So
about, sorry, and just so we're not talking about all DC films. We're talking about the DC EU. You know, the ones that started with Man of Steel, because obviously there are other
okay,
DC films and like Joker and things like that that aren't really counted as part of this. So that's what we're talking
yeah,
about.
yeah. I personally did enjoy them. However, I can see they are very choppy, and it takes a lot of concentration. Even though Zack Snyder's um, universe, the Justice League that came out was very well received. It is a 4 hour film, and it takes a lot, and maybe it's a bit too much. Yeah, I was, you know, the way it looked like it was going, especially with the end of Black Adam, the reveal of Henry Cavill, I was excited about that, and I know other people were as well. And so for that to then go, oh, that's not happening, and that was a strange one for me. But you know what? The position I'm in now, it's like, okay, this guy James Gunn, he's obviously got a story that he wants to tell, and he's saying that is his main thing, about telling a good story, and that's what I like. I like a good story, so I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. You know, did I enjoy those films? Yes, but I also realised that it wasn't for everyone, and maybe if you were to compare it to like Marvel movies that are out, it's nowhere near, the phase one, two, three, four finishing with Endgame. What about you?
Um, I mean, I probably would say I'm on the complete opposite end of the scale. I really didn't enjoy them. To the point where, we had many discussions, many long-winded discussions about them, and it was like, why do you watch them? And I was like, you know what, you're right. And I just ended up not seeing them. I think I want to say I've seen Man of Steel, BVS. Um,
You've seen the first Josh. You've seen the Josh
the
Whedon,
Joss Whedon Justice League, which is
and I
okay.
remember you
Going,
actually
that
told me
wasn't.
you enjoyed that one at the
I think
time.
enjoy would be strong. I think I said that wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. It was actually all right. Um,
But we both fell with the same problem with that film,
yeah,
is that it felt very local, or it felt very,
I just think
like
it all
it's
felt
like
aimless. You
they're
know what the biggest problem with them? It felt aimless. All of this.
mm,
It didn't feel like there was any goal. It was just like, let's throw this stuff out as quickly as possible. Let's have it dark. Let's have Superman killing people. Let's have Superman saying, people, was it people don't stay good or whatever it was in BVS when he's gonna go and kill Batman and all this other stuff. And it was like, what is going on? And and yeah, and just it was just all of it was just wasn't great for me. So I'm not going to comment on the ones I didn't see, but you know, the people, the reviewers that I like and stuff have echoed that this stuff just wasn't. It was some of it was good, some of it was bad, and I think it was just a bit of a mixed bag from the sounds of it.
Have you
The
seen?
fact I think
Have
the
you seen
fact
one?
that I think the fact that they're rebooting it tells you all you need to know about the 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 reception as a whole of most of those films, and what they what they thought of them in general. Because if they were doing great and they were wildly popular, they wouldn't be doing this. So um, yeah, so my thought is it was just a bit of a mess. Your centerpiece character for me, Superman. No, people didn't love, and people may have loved the actor, but I can't imagine people were loving that version of Superman. Like, oh, he brings us so much joy and hope, and we love him. And it's like he wasn't very warm. He was very alien. He was very. He didn't care about people. He was letting people die left, right, and center. He's breaking people's necks, and you know we could go on and on about that. But yeah, for me it was just a bit of a mixed bag, and I just actually backed off from watching them because they were actively annoying me, the film. So um, a bit like how Marvel is at the moment. So um, yeah,
Did you watch Wonder Woman or Aquaman?
I think I've seen a bit of Wonder Woman, and
Because
I
I would
don't
say
think I've seen
both of those
Aquaman.
both of those films are good. The second Wonder Woman, oh my goodness, no. Um, you got to put films that are amazing, like Joker, in there with
Well, well,
Joaquin Phoenix.
well, this is what I say. Joker isn't counted in those films because it's completely disconnected. It's got nothing to do with their overall strategy. It's like the Batman is nothing to do with Wonder
Yeah,
Woman and all that. They are, and I think even James Gunn in that video, in the video it's playing, even says these ones will be separate to the main continuity. So I think
it's
that's what's
it's
going
also
on.
it's so confusing, isn't it? It's like, oh, let's make a Joker film, let's make a Batman film, let's make a, it's weird that it's so, me and you we could pretty much hardcore superhero fans, and even we're like, I don't get it. So they need some sort of structure. So you know,
I do think there's scope though. I think these days, like back in the day, just watching like when Smallville was on, for example, they wouldn't let certain characters on the TV show because they were going to for example, they wouldn't let Bruce Wayne on the Smallville because they had Batman Begins going on. So it was like, oh, well, we
mm,
can't have another Bruce Wayne because people will be confused. And it's like, I just don't think people will be these days. So I do think if they've got a particularly good idea, like the Joker, like why not have a separate thing that's completely separate and, you know, and it's a really good film. As long as it's marked clearly that it is nothing to do with the main thing. But so I don't mind it so much, but I understand your point though. But yeah, it needs to be it needs to be clearer. But yeah, so I think, and now obviously going forwards, the thing for me that the biggest, the thing I'm hoping for is that the Superman film is good.
but
I
you got to
am,
wait like 2 years for that now.
yep, and it's not long, and so I am holding out hope that is good. Now James Gunn is writing it, and I've not loved everything he's done,
What
but
has he done?
so he did obviously he's done like talking old stuff. I think it was like Tromeo or something, and he's done Guardians, obviously. Um, he's done the Suicide Squad, not the first one, the second one with Idris Elba.
Right.
And then he did Peacemaker show, which again some people really like. I've seen some people not love it, but
I'd say
he's
it's been well received, hasn't it?
yeah, for the most part. But John Cena. Um, but
I don't mind John Cena these days, believe it or not.
yeah, I can't. It's like trying to watch The Rock. I can't. Um, so I think I love the first Guardians. Love, love, love the first Guardians. Second one, I like it a lot. Um,
Mm.
so I'm not sure. I really hope it's good, and I really hope, having watched, I watched the original Superman recently, the Superman from '78 recently, having just finished my rewatch of Smallville. I mean, it's like if they could just bottle the feeling from those things and pump it into a new film.
Mm.
Just try and capture that feeling of what Superman is about. Just
Mm.
try. Christopher Reeve in the first one is just incredible. It's just such a good thing. We obviously reviewed it here. So I think Superman the film is the most important one out of all of this. This whole slate that they announced is easily the, because if that's rubbish, if that is poorly received, if if it's just Lex Luthor trying to get an island
It's
again.
not the first one though, is it? Because they've got all
It's
these
not the first.
TV
It's
shows.
not, and that's the. I think that personally, I think that's a bit of a mistake. I think
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I agree.
I think you set off your new thing with Superman. I think that would have to be the first thing, personally. But that's how I would have kicked it off. But I
Or
still think
Batman.
even these other ones, or Batman. But now, because I think Batman's had good films. We basically haven't had a universally loved Superman film since like Superman 2. Like it's literally like 40, nearly 50 years ago. Like it's like 50 years, it's like 40 years ago. It's a long time since we've had, this is the Superman film. This is great. It's been a long, long time. We've had some cool TV incarnations since then. People loved Smallville. People really, Lois and Clark was a big thing in the in the 90s. We obviously had um, animated Superman. People loved the Superman the animated series. So, and there's a feeling. I think there's a common theme in all of those things. It's the way the Superman, the character Clark Kent, felt that was massively missing in the Man of Steel films. Like I think he looked the part, but he there was no the warmth of that. Those particular things was missing. So for me. All of these other things, they sound interesting. The lanterns and the Authority and the Batman, the Brave and the Bold, and all these other ones. They sound interesting, but for me, the most important that has to be right, and I'm praying and I'm really hoping it is the Superman film.
I agree with that. Can we? Oh, we. I don't. I've not even spoke to you about this.
Mm.
The Flash trailer.
Oh yeah,
Did Did you watch it?
I did. I'm so disconnected from, like, I was like, what is going on? Because I don't
aren't
really.
they?
Obviously, there's a lot going on in this, So, and also, I saw a rumor that George Clooney's going to be in it as well. I mean,
Please,
of
can you
all the
believe?
of all the
Can you believe?
Batmans you're going to bring back, you're bringing back George Clooney. What are you
Can
doing?
you? I mean, maybe to kill him. Who knows? I mean,
I hope Chris
you.
O'Donnell's in there as well. Then.
Well, he was very good. Can you see my screen right now?
Hold on. Let me come back. No, why?
It is.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's a
It's
very,
Michael Keaton,
yeah.
71 years old, and he looks unbelievable.
I think there's a bit of CGI going on there, don't you think?
I don't care.
I wish, one thing. Looking at that suit, I'm like, would he have not have changed it in 40 years as Batman? Like he probably would have, right?
If it's not broke. The problem with this trailer is it's great, but it shows so much. This
Yeah, but it
and
doesn't show everything
Ezra
because
Miller's absolutely mental, isn't he?
but I'm saying that it hasn't really shown. It's not showing as much because obviously, I said George Clooney's supposed to be in it. Obviously Ben Affleck's going to be in it. You've got the Supergirl again. What is that like?
But what I'm taking away
I don't
from
know.
this
It's
is
all a bit.
this Flash film is going to reset everything, isn't it? So that
I guess
there's
so.
new ground. So it's like the end, from what I'm gathering.
It does sound that way. I hope it's good. I really hope it's good. I'm not. I might again. I might wait for people to go and see it, and then I might venture. I've been burned too many times. Like I'll give the new stuff. So once these old ones are out of the way, I'll give the new stuff a fresh go, but the old
I
stuff like
can't. I can't.
Aquaman 2 and Shazam and Flash, it's still got that stink of it, of the old stuff.
The thing is, DC has produced a lot of stuff.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? And they've pumped a lot of money into, Black Adam, Aquaman, like you say, both two Wonder Womans, Joker, two Suicide Squads. These,
Mm,
the Flash, and I can't help but feel like it's just going to be choppy for a while.
mm.
And yeah, and I think for me, it's like, well, okay, if you're resetting the Superman stuff, that for me will be the
Yeah,
number one.
that's
But
the barometer. I think that will be the real litmus test. Are we actually in a better place? Because if this comes out and it's like, what are we watching again? Like it's Lex Luthor trying to get a new hotel or something, or it's just punch punch Superman, and Superman
what
wants to
would
go around
you
killing everyone, and it's like, okay, look, what are we doing?
what
So
would your story what would your story sort of be with it?
really
Would
good
you want an
question.
origin again, or
I don't want a full origin again. I wouldn't mind like maybe over the credits we see an origin, if you make, do you know what I mean, where you're just seeing the flashes of his life in Smallville. um
mm,
I would like, if you're gonna, I would like, I'm trying to think whether I'd like Jonathan Kent alive, because we've had him dead so many times. As actually, I wouldn't mind him alive. um
I
you
see what
know
you mean.
because we've seen him dead in a lot of the, but obviously in certain versions he's still alive. So I wouldn't mind seeing him an old man alive. I do think it's important, but at the same time we've seen him die. It's like Uncle Ben, isn't it? It's like you just can't see this guy die again. So I wouldn't
I'd
actually.
almost like I'd almost like not to be a villain that's so obvious, and him just dealing with I
I think
can't
we.
save everyone.
I think we need to see him being Superman, saving people. It's like that needs to be on the, on their
But
little direction.
that's fine, but that doesn't need a villain.
No, that's what I mean. So I agree with what you're saying. I think you're right that we need to see him being Superman, like working with the people,
Mm,
inspiring people, stopping stuff, saving. There's. I mean, there's so many parts in Superman when he saves that woman's cat in a tree and stuff, and it's such a small little bit, and it's it doesn't really mean anything, but it's just, I think they just really spoke to who he was
mm.
as a
Yeah,
superhero.
I
That he
also
do
quite
this.
like
Yeah.
the idea of him sacrificing, things that he loves, like Lois, or maybe friendship, because he's on call 24/7, and have that sort of side of
Yeah,
it.
and they don't have to be together right now. You know, you have to have the
Just a
right
grounded,
Lois.
a grounded,
You have to
a
have the right
grounded
Lois.
movie.
You have to have the right
Mm,
Lois as well. We don't want to find. Again, Man of Steel. Big. I think a big issue was having Lois find out within half an hour or whatever. Whatever it was when she, first met him, and suddenly here we go. She finds out who he
mm,
is. Um, I think having a Lois where he's having to sort of dodge around her is always
mm,
interesting, and she thinks,
yeah,
who's this loser? And he's trying to not show himself as himself. And
yeah.
that's always fun. You know the bits I'm talking about in Lois and Clark, the show. There was so much of
Mm.
that, and it was so fun to watch.
Yeah, when
Um,
she knows, it makes it worse. But when she doesn't know,
oh, super
he's got to
fun.
be he's got to be Clark Kent.
Yes,
But have him being Clark Kent for half the movie, I'm fine with that.
yeah. Like just have him sort of like, how did you find that out? Oh, I just fell on my hand and
Google.
yeah. Or like, how this door open? It's like, oh, door was rusted. And stuff like that.
Yeah,
And he's just
it can be.
yeah,
He can be comical. He can be comical, can't he?
yeah, absolutely. I don't want joke, joke, joke like a Marvel film, but he can be charming and fun and have. He should be. One of the things in Lois and Clark that I think they really portrayed really well was he really enjoyed being Superman. Like the
Mm,
bits where he's just floating in his flat. He's just like, yeah, and he's thinking or he's pacing on the ceiling or whatever because he can, because he just loves his powers. He's loving life. He's enjoying himself. And I'm not saying you have to do all that, but it just convey that this guy actually enjoys himself. Not that he's just a miserable. Should I save people? Maybe you should let them die. Like, oh my, come on, man. Like, we don't need that.
I
So
also like I also like the dilemma of the fact that he doesn't age as much,
mm,
but I don't know if that would be appropriate or
maybe not the
but
first
I
one,
always
but again, it's another thing to bring together. But again, and the things with these films, a big thing will be how this guy looks, and Lois, you know, you have to get the right Lois. You really do. It really, I don't
I'd be
think. I
more
think Amy Adams is an unbelievable actress. I just don't think she was the right Lois. The same goes to that lady that was in Superman Returns. What was her name? Kate Bosworth. Just completely
mm,
wrong. Completely wrong. Um, and so I just think that I think
what about
Terry.
like a Mandy Moore?
Well, yeah, well. Yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe, but I think I don't want someone so obviously pretty. I don't know.
I just love
But
Mandy
saying
Moore.
that, I remember I was just thinking Terry Hatcher, and she's unbelievable. So I don't know. Like, but I just think you have to get that right. That person
Yeah,
has to be right, and it's really difficult because they have to have a bit of force of personality as well. Let's give Lois a bit more forcefulness, less damsel in distress. She doesn't. He needs to save her, but also, and she needs to, be interested by this Superman character, but she needs to be a force of nature, like that. So yeah, I think there's ways to do it. I think if you've watched that Superman and Lois show, Lois on that show is a pretty good Lois.
mm.
Um,
Or bring
she's
back the Lois from Smallville.
She was a great Lois. I just said I just rewatched that, and she's a great Lois. Again, as a foil for Clark, you know,
Mm,
and then even when she finds out his secret, helping him become the person we need him to be. So yeah, there's. I think that's just really the biggest thing for me. We talked about it so long. Obviously they've got.
mm,
It'll be interesting to watch a Batman film. It's weird that they've got a Robin, but it's like the fifth Robin, incarnation of Robin. We're not getting the original Robin, and we've only had one Robin on screen really. So it's weird that they make a film where this Robin is like the fourth or fifth version of Robin. So it's a bit of a weird
mm.
one.
I mean,
I've seen that.
I know it's an obvious thing to do, but it was such a good blueprint. Steal from Marvel, you know, build up the DC universe, the locations, the characters. Have a Superman film. You don't have to have Batman in it. Have a Batman film. You don't have to have any.
Mm,
Build them up, and then you just know that it's in that same universe. You build up to your Infinity War with your Dark Side characters. You know, Thanos like characters or whatever, and you just bring it all together, and ultimately we want to see all of them on a battlefield of some sort, displaying all of their powers, and what I mean, and looking vulnerable, and then having their day in their sun. But you know what I mean, and there's nothing wrong with stealing from Marvel for that blueprint,
uh,
in my opinion.
I think they could even steal from their own blueprint. So what I mean by that is, I've just recently been watching the Justice League cartoon. Have
Mm.
you seen it? Have you seen much of it?
I know
Bits
enough of
enough
it,
of it.
but not.
Now, I was watching it just because someone had said, "Oh, you know how he's so," because obviously Kevin Conroy recently died, the voice of Batman. I thought, you know what, I'm gonna rewatch the Batman animated series because I've only seen bits and bobs of it as a kid, on telly. So I'm gonna rewatch from
Yeah.
beginning to end. So anyway, I was watching this one because I knew I liked this, and watching it, I was like, they literally had a formula that they made that they could easily just turn some of these episodes into films,
Mm.
like quite easily. And these are good ideas, and they go over two episodes. They're only 40 minutes, but I'm sure they could fill it out. And these are good ideas with with the Justice League characters. And I was
Yeah.
thinking, man, why didn't they just they've done the work already? And these are great versions of these characters. I think everyone loves these versions of the characters, the Superman, the Batmans, and especially the Batman, the Green Lantern, John Stewart. They love the versions of these characters. So I'm thinking, just do this. This. You've already done it. You've got like probably like 10 films worth of really good ideas here. Like, not all the episodes are great, but some of them are amazing. And so I'm just like, just copy your own work. What are you doing?
Yeah.
And so
Even the even the games have got some amazing,
yeah,
storylines and
absolutely. So
that.
they've already done the work. I just think they got caught up in the Dark Knight, right? The Dark Knight of it all, and Christopher Nolan and all that. That's what they got caught up in, I think. And they just look at their own work that they've done already, and like for me, I'm watching that. And I'm like, wow, some of this is great. Um,
Yeah.
and people love this. People really did love it. So, and still do, still love it. Um, so yeah, it's it's something I think they should look at. I don't think they will. Obviously, they want to create their new own stuff or refer to comics and stuff. But I think the animated stuff, there's definitely things to they could really um, seed from that. They could take from that show and mine it for further ideas. So yeah, they've already done it. So I'm just hopeful. I think at where I'm at, I think you know I'm hopeful that it's good.
So you're trusting James Gunn is what we're
I think that what it is I'm willing to give it a fresh slate.
a chance.
Yeah, like that's done now. All of that stuff's done. Um, show me what
It's
show
the
me
new
show
it's
me
the
show
news
me
you
show me what you've got. Basically, show me what you got.
well, I know it's the news you've been wanting.
Yep, absolutely.
I'm like, show me. I don't trust you yet,
Yeah,
but
yeah, that's where I'm at. And I think watching Superman 78 and watching Smallville, my love of Superman really was like, it actually was like, I love Superman so much.
mm,
I just haven't had any good Superman for a long time, for a long, long time, and I just want good Superman. That's what I want.
it's weird. It's weird that they never linked, the Keaton and Christopher Reeve for
I
something.
think wasn't there was rumors that was going to happen, but I think they thought it wouldn't work or something, which is crazy. Um, it's just now in the climate of what we have now, it's insane. You had the
Yeah,
perfect Superman, you had a really popular Batman, and you didn't put them together. It seems crazy now that you would have that and not capitalize on it. But that's just how it was, wasn't it? It's like we I was listening to something about Smallville today, and they're just like, it just wasn't the thinking. You know,
no,
we wouldn't a spin-off show with some of these side characters that were actually really interesting. It's like, well, that wasn't what they what are you talking about? What another
mm,
character? It just wasn't there in their thinking. Whereas now, God, it would just be, they would be like, yeah, let's do it. Let's put, if Smallville was on now, we would have Diana, we'd have Diana in there. You'd have Bruce Wayne would turn up being Lex Luthor's mate or something.
mm.
You would have these sort of other DC characters turn up. Green Lantern probably turns up, or John Stewart. John Stewart is Lois Lane's old army brat buddy, and now he's in the army. Or you know what I mean? Like it would just be all of that kind of stuff happening. Um,
You think in the Spider-Man film, you had three Spider-Men, all the villains, and Tom
yeah,
Hardy's Venom. Do
yeah,
you know what I mean? Plus, probably more that I can't think. Daredevil,
yeah.
but it's just yeah,
Just think like when Spider-Man the first Spider-Man came out, it was like, yeah, he's on his own. This is because you think they had X-Men, they had Fantastic Four and Spider-Man sort of around the same time, and they were like, no,
mm,
they're not touching each other. No one's touching anyone. It's mad, isn't
yes,
it? It's insane.
yeah.
But yeah, that's it. I'd say what I'm hopeful for the DC stuff. Obviously, some of this stuff I'm not fully, never heard of the Authority and Creature Commandos and all this other stuff. So, but as I said, I'm willing to give it a shot. I think it could be the start of something good. I think at the moment Marvel faltering. Uh, some of the reviews for Ant-Man aren't very complimentary. Um,
That's what I've heard, but I
yeah,
don't know. I don't
I
know
don't
the
know because I
spoilers.
haven't seen it. I don't know anything about the film really. But from what I've heard, is not particularly complimentary about what's going on over at Marvel. So it doesn't seem like the ship is changing much at the moment. A lot of the so they have a chance, and I love the DC characters, especially after watching Superman and Smallville and Justice League and stuff. I'm like, man, I really do love these characters. I just want them
Mm.
to be in good films and TV shows and stuff. That's what I hope anyway.
Definitely. Well, the DC for me, DC like the characters are my favorite.
Yeah, I think
They just haven't been in my favorite films.
that's yeah.
Um,
I think that's probably true for me as well. I think
because
that's
my,
probably
my
true.
my 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 top three is Superman, Batman, and then Spider Man is my that's like my kid sort of version talking.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely Superman. Definitely Superman. Probably,
you like
probably,
Green Lantern?
probably Batman. I used to love Green Lantern.
What
Um,
about have they got a film? There's like two Green Lanterns, isn't there? Hal Jordan.
there's gonna be a TV show, but again, we'll see because we had that Green Lantern movie, and that was absolutely horrific.
It could have been good as well.
It really could have been, but Ryan Reynolds is just the wrong person for that kind of film. Like he's a very funny guy, so hilarious, so charismatic, but he's just not serious enough. Like he's just, and so the film probably bounces off him a little bit. Being it was just so I remember watching it going, what is this? It was so fake. It was so CGI. It was horrible film. Horrible film.
I was sort of enjoying it, and then it was like, nah, I can't.
Like horrible. Like CGI suit. Don't put him in a CGI suit. What? Like it was just it was horrible.
Look a bit like the Riddler in Batman Forever.
He did. He really did. Um, just silly, just so silly. So yeah, I'm hoping that's good. I'm hoping it's good, and yeah, I think I'm quietly optimistic.
Okay.
But yeah, that's it for me. Any other thoughts, Dave?
Not that I can think of at the moment.
All right.
But yeah, I'm like you, optimistic. But I think things are going to come out, and people are going to say, "Oh, did you see this show or this?" And I'll be like, "Oh no, I didn't." I think like you, a lot of it will probably pass me by, and then Superman will get my attention.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
But yeah,
All right, man.
all right.
All right. Well, that's a sort of a take on DC and whatnot. We'll probably be getting back to reviewing, but yeah. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll be back soon with another installment. Bye for now.
See you later.